Hey guys, welcome back to Bullets and Brass after a little extended absence while I was feeling like shit. My voice is mostly back. I'm still not great, but whatever. It is what it is. So, topic for today is replacing your bow, or whether you should, shouldn't, what the benefits might be, how long to keep one, that kind of thing. And the number one thing that I think boils into this is, do you want to? Like, do financially, mentally, emotionally, like, are you unhappy with your bow? Is it doing something you're not happy with? Is it not doing something you want it to do? Is buying a new bow financially practical? Is it going to be a strain on your finances, or is it not? Is it splurging, or is it just a few bucks for you? And this obviously depends on your financial situation, what bow you're looking at. I mean, so the difference between, say, a new Bear Legit or even Resurgence at 420 or 599 even, and a new Mathews VX3 or V3X with all the trimmings can be $2,000 difference. Like, that's not minor. You've got to consider that. Different people are going to approach this differently. But should you do it at all? And I think the answer really has to come down to, how do you feel about your current bow? Because if your current bow is not doing it for you, replace it. Unless you can do something to fix that. Is it if your sight is not happy or something? But like, if you are not emotionally bonded to your bow and you're going, I want a new bow, do it. If you can afford it, do it. If you're not, and your bow is not 10 years old or more, I don't think it's worthwhile. There haven't been any real revolutionary changes in end result of the bow at normal hunting distance. We're not talking competition. We're not talking, you're taking long distance shots. We're talking normal, everyday, average hunter distances and skill level. Not pro staff shooter, not dedicated archery guy who does hundreds and hundreds of arrows a week. No, we're talking average guy, right? Or gal. If your bow is new enough that it's pretty quiet, reasonably fast, has a decent sight, a functional rest, and is set up correctly, I don't think you're gaining much by replacing it. A few feet per second one way or the other, doesn't matter. Your feet per second are way more determined by your draw length than your bow. Somebody with an older bow and a longer draw length is probably going to be faster than the guy with a new bow and a shorter draw length. It is what it is. That's how this math works out. And keep in mind, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200 years ago, people were killing these same animals with the bows of the time. That was what they had. It worked. So newer doesn't necessarily mean that it's really going to do a better job. It might mean it's a little easier, might mean it's a little more forgiving, might mean that it's a little easier for the bow tech to work on. As somebody who works on bows for a living, I can definitely tell you that some bows are easier than others. It's, some are a pain and some are easy. And in pro shop level bows, that's definitely a thing. Like, how easy is it to get a proper tune? How much fiddling around do you have to do? How perfect is that tune in the sense that, like, if somebody changes arrows, is it still good? How much fiddling around is there? How far off is it? They change broadheads. Is it still good, or is the bow really picky? Now, modern bows have definitely gotten better at that. But if you're a 5-year-old bow, 8-year-old bow, and it was a good bow, it's still a good bow. It still is. I am shooting a Hoyt Prevail, which is that one back there. It's a first year Hoyt Prevail 37 with the X3 cams. There are still plenty of people shooting that competitively. Works great. There's still plenty of people shooting it in 3D and in indoor, all sorts of stuff. It's not a hunting bow. My Strother Moxie, now called the Moxie Origin, if you wanted to find one, is not a new bow at all. Let me look up how old that bow is. Okay, so my Strother is at least 2012. Okay, at least. Maybe older. I can't find an original date without a lot of fooling around. But there's reviews for it in 2012. The bow is still fast, accurate, comfy, easy to shoot, reliable. There has been nothing revolutionary in the end user's results since then. Now, bows have gotten a little quieter. Certain bows are really quiet. But, you know, it's still a quiet bow in the grand scheme of things. You know, if you compare it to a Bear Resurgence or a modern Matthews or Hoyt hunting bow, which are damn near silent, yeah, it makes noise. If the deer is going to jump, maybe it hears it, maybe it doesn't, right? I'm not saying that that's a bow I should replace, right? That's my main bow. I mean, I got the competition bow back there, but I don't really compete anymore. And if you ask me to go shooting with a bow, I'm probably taking the Moxie. Depends on what we're doing. I've got a better sight on the Prevail, and I honestly need to move it. I need to swap the sight and put it on the Strother. But that's the point. I'm happy with my Strother. I'm happy with my Prevail. I don't think that a new bow is going to make you a better archer. I don't. You become a better archer by shooting more arrows with intent, practicing, not just reps. You had to practice correctly. You had to be practicing something. You're working on your skills. If you do that, the bow is secondary. I can pick up a Bear G2 Cruiser. It is entry-level, young adult to adult bow and shoot better than 99% of my customers. It's not the person, or it's not the bow, it's the person. And I'm a good shot with a bow. I'm not spectacular. I'm certainly, no top tier professional. I'm on nobody's pro staff. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm not at that level. The vast majority of the people that are going hunting with a bow are way below my skill level. And I don't feel limited by a Bear Legit, a Bear Resurgence. If you hand me a 10-year-old bow, I don't feel like the bow is the limitation as long as everything's working correctly. If your bow has issues, get them addressed rather than buying a new bow. It's like your car. Don't replace your car because your tires are worn out or your suspension needs a little work, right? If your muffler rusts through, you don't replace the whole car, you replace the muffler. If your engine needs oil change, you don't throw the car out, you get an oil change. So, that is it. I'm just saying, think long and hard about whether you need a new bow or you just want a new bow. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wanting a new bow. Go for it. Power to you. The people who replace their bows every single year, they buy a new high-end bow, they are what drive innovation in the bow industry. Those guys and the competitors, the guys who every point counts and they're pushing the envelope. But in the hunting world, the guys who replace their bow every year are the people who drive the companies to constantly put out something new and try to improve. If it wasn't for those guys, they'd bring a new bow every 3 or 4 years. The companies would continue to rest on their laurels. There'd be much slower advancement. So power to them. It's great. We need those people. They make a huge difference in the industry. But the average archer, the average bow hunter is not that person. They don't need to be. If you want to do it, go for it. But if you don't want that new bow, and if that's a financial problem, don't feel like your bow is the limitation. I guarantee that if your bow is properly set up, it's probably a better shot than you are.